as you signed up and registered RSVP'd, and that's awesome. Without further ado, let's meet our panel. Let's start with Ashley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Epperson. I'm currently the media supervisor at Mercedes-Benz USA. I've been with Mercedes for about 5 years, and I've held multiple positions in the marketing and sales departments. I'm new to media. I started in February, so I'm still learning a lot every day. But I currently live in Buckhead, Atlanta, with my 2 orange tabby cats, Midge and Maisel. Yes, they're named after the show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I had a little bit of an obsession when I got them. But thanks for having me, and I'm excited to be here.
That's amazing. Now I want to name pets after a streaming show. And very apropos, Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Deininger. I'm the Vice President of Digital Media and Analytics at Norbella. Norbella is a mid-sized media strategy, planning, and buying agency. We're located in Boston, and we represent a combination of national clients in business-to-business and technology, and then additionally regional to local clients in banking, automotive, and performing arts. And I live right outside Boston. I have 2 daughters, and I wouldn't say they're my cats, but maybe I'm the stepdad to 2 cats whose names are Hansel and Gretel.
Wow. Tal, I hope you can top that.
I'll start from the end, and I'll say I don't have any cats. I must come clean. I have 2 daughters that are not named in any show. Maybe I'll change their name to Moira and Alexis after a Schitt's Creek obsession. But so once we cleared that out of the way, I'm Tal Chalozin. I'm CTO and co-founder of Innovid, based in New York, even though right now I'm based on Zoom. I'm the, I don't know, center box on Zoom. That's my home. And Innovid, I'm sure, or at least I hope that everyone on the call knows Innovid. Most people know Innovid as the US largest video ad serving platform and measurement and in creative tools. We're here to talk a lot about the creative and engagement side. And the part that we are here to talk today has been a key hot topic for Innovid for quite some time, is in and around connected television. Connected television right now, I just looked at our latest numbers right now, are evening out with mobile. So on a given month, 42% of all ads we deliver in the United States are being seen on connected television, which makes it sometimes the largest device that people in the United States are using. So many people still call it an emerging medium, but it's far from being emerging. It's already emerged. So this is me, my no cats, and 2 daughters, and the CTV.
Thanks, Tal. And I'll be hosting today. I'm Todd Cohen, Undertone's head of video and advanced TV, including many of the areas we'll be discussing today. That's connected TV, interactive CTV, ACR, automatic content recognition, and more. I've worked on advanced TV, including CTV and TV to digital technologies for nearly a decade now. I don't have any cats, perhaps I need to fix that, or pets, and live in New York. Enough about me. Let's get things started with a little bit of a poll to get everyone involved. So we're gonna put a poll up on the screen to get a sense of if you've run CTV, interactive CTV, neither, both. If you could just go ahead and jump in with one of those. Would love to get a sense, and this way our panelists will be able to direct questions, knowing if everything is here is brand new or we've already been using it, trying to figure out how we can just get a little bit of an advantage out in market. Just give everyone a moment on that. And look at that. So about almost half of us have used connected TV. Some people haven't used it at all. And we have some people that have used both CTV and interactive CTV. That's exciting. I think interactive CTV is one of the most exciting new developments for what was an exploding trend, as Tal mentioned. But you'll learn more about that here. And then one more, just in terms of how everyone's buying CTV. If we want to throw up just that other poll, just to get a sense, get things set here. For your brand, who plans or buys CTV? Is that your TV team or the team that's primarily responsible for your television buys? Is it the team that is primarily responsible for digital? Is it both? And that really could be if they're integrated too. Both teams buy it or neither? Next time we'll throw some Jeopardy music on as you fill this out. It'll be more fun. Alrighty. So it looks like nobody on the call here is having their TV team primarily responsible for CTV buying, which is interesting. As the only one, it's either both or just the digital team in most cases. Really interesting. That covers the vast majority of us. All right, that was our poll. Thanks so much for participating. Really appreciate the interactive nature for a conversation about interactive CTV and how to get the most out of CTV. So I guess here's where we're starting. Tal started to set this up, and let me just pick up where he left off. So cord cutting has been happening for a while. I feel like for the last 6 years, I've been hearing about it. It's coming, and it's finally here. Now, there's 50 million households that are completely unreachable from linear TV, cable TV buys. And that's a challenge, and that's been accelerating, especially even with stay-at-home orders. The thing is, they haven't disappeared. Some people are watching, Ashley's watching Mrs. Maisel, and other households are watching Netflix, and they're doing it on the very same TV. The thing that's really interesting in the trend here, which some of Tal's company's research has shown out, is they're also watching ad-supported connected TV. And that brings us to our discussion here. There's both a fragmentation challenge of reaching everyone with one shot, all-in-one buy on television, but there's also an opportunity. And with that in mind, I thought that would get us started here. So with that in mind, Ashley, how has your media mix been evolving? Has any of that impacted how you guys plan and buy media?
Yeah, definitely. And this is an important topic for us that we've really dedicated a lot of time and effort to. And with the breadth of consumers that NBUSA strives to reach, we really had to take a thorough approach in how we wanted to evolve our media mix. And like you said, given that the CTV space is so fragmented, it really provided an interesting challenge for our brand. But we like to look at it like a puzzle, with the end goal being to develop that full funnel approach that's effective and efficient in reaching our key target audiences. And we do that by looking at a few key pillars. One being, what does TV viewing look like across our core audience segments? 2, do those trends vary by programming type? And 3, what are we trying to achieve?
I think that's smart. Have you been shifting more into CTV with that? And has it been coming, have you noticed where it's kind of coming from on the linear side or from the digital side or both either?
Yeah, we've been taking a careful approach and shifting our budgets into CTV moment, but we are taking that careful approach, especially when we, in relation to those consumer trends we're seeing in those ratings erosions. Linear still plays a huge role for us in reaching that wide audience, especially in the sports space. We are a lot in that sports space, but with connected TV, we're getting that level of interaction with our ads that we see a lot of value in.
Let's extend that. Thank you, Ashley. Let's extend that question out to everyone as well. So we're going to put up another quick poll so everyone can contribute here. Are you planning on shifting more budget towards CTV coming up for 2021? And let's include interactive CTV in there. So are you shifting more money towards CTV and interactive CTV as you move into next year's planning? Same amount roughly, or have you been downshifting with less budget towards CTV, interactive CTV? It's like an
Like
SAT question.
there's only one correct answer here.
You know, it's there's some of us that have actually that are keeping it roughly the same, and we're seeing a lot of growth. Tal, you've seen quite a bit of shift into CTV just even during the pandemic. I think I've noticed in your in the stuff you've put out.
Yeah, yeah. The growth of CTV has been growing for a very long time. We started our venture in CTV more than 5 years ago, but it accelerated like crazy during the shelter-in-place time. And this is, so many people ask us, what did we learn from that time? And that's by far the biggest trend that we've seen is increasing shift into CTV. So overall, what we've seen is that in the beginning of shelter in place in April and beginning of May, obviously the whole market seen a downturn of spend, but we have seen a big comeback right after. But the interesting part is that the connected television sector of our business did not see any massive downturn at all. Mainly because, to your question earlier about how do people buy, many people that buy connected television buy television. They just ended up delivering the ad on digital because this is how people choose to watch ABC or NBC or Fox or other channels. And that's what we've seen during the pandemic is people cutting their cord, as you mentioned, because of lack of sports, and then electing to watch digital channels. And this has been very, very big. I'll add one other thing just that we're hearing from the market. Another very big benefit, I know we're going to talk a lot about it soon, but another big benefit of connected television is the extra accountability. So you can add better measurement with interactive and engagement. You can deliver better messages and learn more about the consumer. That's another thing that we've heard a lot from marketers is as time shifted and definitely economic situation that we're in right now, more and more marketers want more than just completion rate or more than just GRPs. How do I get better KPIs or better metrics that could be more tied into my business? And that's something that connected television, at least, is much closer than other television or traditional television.
Yeah, we're hearing that as well with that targetability and measurability, the feedback loop that just doesn't exist for television. We're going to get to that in a moment. But we were talking about the role of CTV in the mix, Bob. How does that work for your agency? It's you have different types of accounts,
Right.
a range of them.
Yep. Yeah, no, you mentioned Todd and Ashley echoed that, but with fragmentation, it's a challenge to marketers that you have to re-aggregate audiences. So you have to look at other channels, and we're using CTV sometimes to complement linear TV buys, but sometimes we're just buying connected TV as well. And again, I would just kind of echo what everyone has said is that basically it's because of consumption. And I just saw something yesterday from Integral Ad Science, and 91% of connected TV users watch advertising supported streaming content. So it's not all Netflix or Disney Plus, it is the Hulus and it is the AVOD or advertising video on demand. So again, there was a bank robber, Willie Sutton, who they asked him, why do you rob banks? He's like, that's where the money is. So we're putting dollars into CTV because that's where the viewers are. And we're using it mostly for brand awareness campaigns because, again, what we find is that it provides the narrative storytelling qualities that video delivers. And we say this to clients, with the digital targeting that's available with digital channels. And we're very intentional that we say, this is the big rectangular box that's in people's living rooms or their bedrooms, because again, having your message on a big screen does have impact.
That's a good point, Bob. You've got some advertisers that are TV focused and some that are a little bit more digitally focused. I imagine the fragmentation challenge impacts your television focused advertisers a bit more. How does it differ for your digital focused partners?
Yeah, so our digital focus partners, I mean, part of what we talk about is the availability of data targeting segments. And again, just to give a little background, I'd say the agency's been buying connected TV for the last, I'd say 3 years. And it really started with our broadcast team, which buys linear. And it really started with the broadcast partners that they were negotiating with, sort of offering up connected TV. But then as it sort of evolved and there became more pure play connected TV providers, the digital team got involved because things like ad serving, things like what data segments are we using, that again, the digital team was used to, you know, through display and mobile and things like that. So right now it's really a shared responsibility where both our broadcast team and our digital team are involved in these. But, you know, I'd say in terms of budgets, connected TV is coming out of more digital budgets now than broadcast budgets.
Ashley, where is it in your media mix? Is it, you talked about the fragmentation piece. Is the focus really trying to get to the cord cutters?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like I said earlier, we've always been very much in that linear FEP space, but we wanted to expand our reach to those cord cutters and light linear viewers. And, you know, with the consumption levels we saw stemming from COVID-19, it really just accelerated our plans. But for us, connected TV, it provides that level of interaction with our ads that we see a lot of value in. It plays a great awareness role. To Bob's point, we really think it's a great awareness piece for us. And it's a nice complement to our linear strategy.
Bob, for some people, they've been doing CTV for all 3 years. You've been doing it, but for some, it's rather new. Is there any challenges in getting clients to shift over and try CTV for the first time?
A lot of it is understanding and describing what it is, because again, as we know in our industry, the digital industry, not just CTV, it's a sea of acronyms. You know, you have AVOD, SVOD, connected TV, OTT, and we're very intentional in describing to clients, and we use the IAB naming conventions for, okay, here's what OTT is. It refers to streaming content, and CTV is really the devices. So it's really educating them. You know, most of our clients they're always very smart, but again, people who know me know I love quotes, and Warren Buffett says he doesn't invest in anything he doesn't understand or know. So our job as an agency is to educate the clients and knowing what they're buying and giving them a comfort level. And again, we've worked with clients too that, you know, and most of our clients, I wouldn't say they're cord cutters, they're probably more cord stackers, that they probably still have a cable subscription, but they have connected TV on top of that through a Fire Stick or Roku. But we had a client that, you know, wasn't familiar with it. So we actually got them a subscription to a connected TV service so they could experience what it was. So I think our only challenge is, you know, educating our clients, getting them comfortable in what they're buying, where the ads are going to appear. I would say the other challenge, without harping on this, is that when we have a linear TV schedule, you know, assuming the client has linear TV, we can give them exactly where it's running. But connected TV, may not be in the data targeting segment that we're using. Again, especially can you get very sophisticated targeting by geo, by, you know, for B2B clients, we're doing job title and job function. So they may not see it on connected TV. So it's basically convincing them, you know, you may not see it, but because we're using precise targeting. And I think, you know, Ashley mentioned that with Mercedes, a lot of your dealers like to see the ads as well. So sometimes it's more difficult to do that with connected TV.
One of the other technologies that people are using in order to maximize the value of their CTV is something that we referenced earlier, ACR, automatic content recognition, to get a bigger impact with their CTV on the same television. If you've been watching the Undertone Anywhere's webinars before, we've actually explored this in detail, but for those of you that missed it, as a quick summary, ACR, as it's called, is a technology that's inside smart TVs. it can actually identify what's on the TV screen, creating a visual fingerprint. And that allows you to target based on what's on, or importantly, what's not on the TV screen, and then target either to the very same TV, that connected TV advertising, or even their second screen digital device. Should mention it's all privacy compliant, opt-in 100%, or else they're invisible. But it's one of the areas that a bunch of different of our advertisers have been exploring with us. Bob, your team's explored ACR as well. How have you been using it?
We've been using it mostly to retarget users who've been exposed to a connected TV ad. We're retargeting based on the ACR data on different devices, such as a tablet or laptop or mobile device.
We found that to be such a powerful way to connect the two.
Yep.
Coming back to the top of our discussion, we were talking about fragmentation, and we also have partners that are using it the other way. So to almost negatively target who is exposed in TV. So that same technology can actually identify which households, the specific households that had the ad on their TV screen, and using us to just suppress those and then run an entire CTV campaign without it. It's crazy to be able to drive unique incremental reach on there. From here, I wanted to talk about another way that people are using, are maximizing the value of their CTV. And to set that up, there's a challenge with television and connected television for that matter, where it's not an interactive medium. Tal was talking earlier how TV on its own is a one-way channel. You turn it on, you can watch it, but those ads aren't areas you can interact with, and they, at least structurally, look kind of the same. Tal, why did you end up building interactive CTV capabilities?
Why is a very long question. I don't know if we have enough time, but I'll tell you more about this. So at Innovid, we're constantly thinking about the viewer. That's what drives us. Our customers, of course, are media networks, different media companies, agencies, and brands, marketing departments. But we always think about the viewer, and we've been doing it for a very long time. What changed with connected television is that the viewer did not sign up to Comcast or Charter and then was sent an antiquated device. They bought an Xbox or a PlayStation or an Apple TV or Amazon Fire or Roku. Those are either gaming devices or devices that are super interactive and very techy by nature, with discovery. In many cases are with voice remotes. So those are a different type of viewing experience. Just to think about the whole binging experience and selecting your content. So we looked at that and said, okay, that right now is the time to bring in everything that we know that works very well on the web and mobile, that allows viewers to choose what they would like to get, the experience, interact with the thing that they care about, learn more information about the brands that they are excited about or they want to learn more about. So this is why we invested a lot in building the technology to create interactive CTV. There's clearly so many challenges in that, the fragmentation of the media, also fragmentation of devices. How do you create something for Mercedes, for example, that works everywhere? So we invest, as a technology company, we invest a lot in the tools that allows you to build once and deploy everywhere. And in a partnership with Undertone, that really scales.
Awesome. We're excited to bring that out to market, to our advertisers. One of the ways that some of our advertisers have really liked about it is before you get into those rich interactive elements, just looking at a little bit of branding. We've been talking with some advertisers about the challenge of just standing out. How do you find a way for your ad to look a little bit different than everyone else is out there? People see 5,000 ads a day between different media, and on television, it looks exactly the same. They're different creative, but how do you capture someone's attention? How do you create fluency between your brand? And ultimately, how do you accentuate and stand out? Bob, when you were exploring this for one of your brands, you ended up using branded CTV for them. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, so this client, they actually launched the campaign this week. They're a cybersecurity company. which obviously with COVID-19 and cybersecurity, it's a really needed service. But what they do is they provide future-ready attack prevention. So again, they prevent the attacks before they happen. So we're launching, it's a hyper-competitive category. And so we're launching the first ever brand awareness campaign that they've had. And we have seen with other B2B tech marketers the power of video, sort of LinkedIn, YouTube, digital video. But we really wanted to sort of, think about how we cut through the clutter, as you mentioned. And the creative concept has really powerful visual imagery, and it's a really sort of compelling visual. So that sort of led us to thinking about, okay, how can we put this on TV, but how can we make sure that we're targeted to the CTOs or the heads of cybersecurity at companies. So again, that led us to CTV, again, the need to deliver this powerful brand awareness creative message, but the need to have precision targeting as well. So we are using sort of job title, job function targeting. It is a national campaign that we're launching actually this week with Undertone.
Awesome. I love the ability to take the idea of targeting on TV isn't completely brand new. There's been companies trying to do addressable for a little while, but now that it's really more a digital media that Innovid's been doing for a bit as the top ad server and others in the market, it's really been a game changer. With interactive CTV, we've also seen how you can add different elements on top of the branding too. Ashley, what drew Mercedes to explore interactive CTV? What have they liked about it?
So we're always looking for first to market opportunities and taking advantage of those, especially in that high impact space. And with that opportunity to extend our success we see with Undertone to a new platform, we just really thought it was a no-brainer.
Whoops, cycling mute button there. Thanks, Ashley. One of the challenges that I've seen or that many of our advertisers have seen is just with television, television works. We know this, it's been working for a long time. However, it has limitations that we never thought of as limitations until we had different benefits of digital. Some of those benefits are the type that Bob referenced, the targetability, the ability to target a finite and specific audience with your ad, and the feedback loop on top of that. But one of the other ones that some of our advertisers talk about is on a television ad, if it works, one of the benefits is that someone gets really excited about your brand or whatever that brand message was. But that's it. That's the end of your experience. You hope that they still remember that when they move on to the next ad immediately after it or to the content that they tuned in to watch. But if they're really excited, what if you could get them to take a look and explore your brand? If they're curious in that moment, take advantage of that moment. And that's one of the areas that some partners are using that for with interactive CTV with. So if you're interested, if you're curious as a consumer in that moment and you see an ad, what if you could at that moment explore more about the brand and engage? And that's what Mercedes did. Let's take a look at how Mercedes used the interactive CTV. We'll actually show the demo here right on the screen. So this is interactive with their remote. It starts off as a full TV commercial, but this overlay pops over, and as they're watching, the viewer has the ability to engage. And if they say, hey, this is really interesting, I want to learn more about the ambient lighting or the cargo room or the exterior, there's videos right there. You can take advantage of that interest right in that moment. Now the original ad is paused, so it's still there in the background waiting for you to come back to it. And when you come back to it, it can continue running. And this way the viewer benefit is they get to learn more in that moment. Maybe they would have picked up another device in order to go to the landing page right afterwards had they, as they watched it, or maybe they would not. But this enables them to take advantage of that moment where you got their interest, captured their attention and do it right now, and it all happens right on their TV screen, and they just cycle through using their remote. Such a unique approach compared to what most TV advertisers or even CTV advertisers are accustomed to. Ashley, how did this end up working out for Mercedes?
Yeah, so we were really excited about this, and we think it worked out really well. Users were highly engaged with the unit, and we saw an overall engagement rate that was 40% higher than our benchmark. So I would say it worked out very well for us.
That's awesome. I love hearing
that. Amazing.
yeah, I love hearing about how different innovations can be brought to television. Television has been around for so long, and it's kind of been the same. And even connected TV, we're having a moment in connected TV where so many advertisers are shifting. There's this explosion of growth, especially during the pandemic and COVID with viewership trends. There's more and more viewers tuning in, but now there's more and more advertisers. So to bring innovation to a medium at just the right time. One of the innovations that have come up to a lot of our advertisers was, how do I connect the dots further? So in that last example, it was, if you're really interested, why don't we put all the things that you would have hoped that they would explore on your landing page, put it right into the TV ad. But some of our partners are saying, wait a minute, can you actually connect the dots? And that's a limitation for a lot of TV ads. If someone gets excited, the TV ad is not directly connected. If it's a digital ad on your phone or on your laptop, on a pre-roll ad, somebody could go ahead and click and jump right to it. But Tal, your team has built the ability for a consumer watching a CTV ad to go right to their phone to get more info. How does that work?
Yeah, so this whole idea is coming off of what you said earlier, is that what connected television allows you to do is what we call, or many other people call, collapsing the funnel. So it's not just an upper funnel vehicle. It allows you to, pun intended, but not just for vehicles, but it's not only an upper funnel, but it really allows you to go beyond the awareness and the consideration all the way down to some type of a customer engagement. So what we're doing, we've been experimenting with many tools to do it. One of the most successful one is the ability to send content to your phone. What we found is that so many of those engagement, I would like to see those 15-second nuggets from Mercedes, but at some point I would like to configure a car, or to see it in different colors, or learn more about the closest dealers and offers and other things. And that probably I will not do right now when I'm watching Mrs. Maisel or Bob's Burgers or whatever it is. I would like to do it later. So then we allow a user to just almost like a save for later. So you enter your phone number, and we will text you a link to the place where you can come back later and experience that. We've seen an amazing success with that product. We've seen it overall, but now specifically again with COVID, many more brands are excited about this, because when you don't do indoor dining, or a lot of the things are via food order, food delivery, e-commerce, or other things, it allows you to actually measure the success of your campaign in a much better way, because now you can tie, I'm entering my phone number, then I'm clicking on a link to land on some landing page to download an app, or to go to a website where you can connect the dots and connect the exposure on one hand to the conversion, hopefully to the actual purchase on the other side. So that's another layer on the accountability. Another side, you and honestly everyone, Ashley, Bob, and everyone mentioned that earlier. Frankly, it's just a respectful format, because if a user is interested, we don't need to force them to now open a pop-up or see right now you need to browse the website. You can save it for later. We prepared it for you in a very easy way. Now do it, go back to your show and continue later. So we just, from both ends, we saw that this is a very successful, and frankly, numbers kind of speaks for themselves.
Advertisers that I work with find that to be fascinating, to be able to connect the dots, because it feels like such a limitation that you didn't even realize that you had in what you've been running. somebody sees an ad. We have e-commerce clients that are thinking, they're trying to drive someone to the site. Someone sees an ad, I want to take advantage now. Hope you remember, hope that your message was persuasive enough for them to pick up another device and connect the dots there. That's a little bit challenging. One of the other ways beyond typing in your phone number that that we're doing here is using QR codes as well, the ability to connect the dots, which I feel like QR codes had a slight moment 5 years ago, and then they got really quiet for a while. But now,
comeback.
Yeah.
You know, in the days of, there's a lot of markets in the United States that you can't go to a restaurant without knowing how to use a QR code. That's how menus work.
Yeah.
So to be able to put those right into the ad on the TV screen, connects the dots immediately, and you could have something pop right up, whether it's a landing page or shoot, even an app. We haven't actually taken some audience questions, so let's shift there. Because we might be tired of me answering everything. Let's get what everyone else's questions were. So we had a couple of questions that came in from registration about performance. And I think we touched on this, so maybe we'll just kind of double click there. So performance for connected TV has often been, well, it's non-skippable, so viewability is not really a thing. And completion rates are predictably pretty awesome because it's non-skippable, but that's not really something to drive. Let's kick this over to Tal, I guess, for the type of performance that you're seeing. Is interactive CTV being used for performance?
First of all, definitely yes. The ability for interaction allows you to get more data and to get more content in front of viewers, and that's clearly immediately the question that we get from a lot of brands: did it actually work? The biggest, just to speak to numbers, maybe the biggest parameter that we measure at this point is what we call time earned, which if you purchase a 30-second spot, the most, you talked about completion, the most you can, the most time on a soapbox that you can have is 30 seconds. But with to the Mercedes example we showed earlier, sky's the limit. You can bring in more content. If it's something engaging and exciting, viewers will spend time watching it. So just to speak on the Mercedes example, we quoted an extra 87 seconds on top of the ad. On top of the 30 or 15-second ad, people spend on time out of their own will, which is also another fascinating part. That was not a forced entry. People pick up the remote, clicked, and then spend time engaging with it. So this is, from what we see, this is one of the most or the best ways to measure the success. The second one is what we talked earlier about the QR code or the SMS is to drive to some form of an action.
Thanks, Tal. We have a lot of questions coming in about different categories. So we've talked about B2B and we've talked about auto. We have questions about how you could take advantage from a fashion and a CPG standpoint. I've seen from my experiences a lot of interest in using different types of carousels, similar to how Mercedes utilized that. But Tal, what have you seen on your end?
Sure. I think this is where, again, specifically for retailers or different fashion brands, we see big use of personalization. When you have a very large catalog of different products, creating a carousel or a random carousel is not something super useful. But obviously the power of e-commerce is that the viewer doesn't need to be exposed to all the different content you have. You can personalize everything. So we brought in the kind of the power of personalization people know from apps and websites and even banners, brought it into the television. And the idea, again, it's not rocket science, but the idea is how do you do it at scale? If you have 50,000 SKUs and you want in real time, pick the 5 that matters and get the high quality with the right price and the tagline and everything, and maybe even a QR code that you can scan and go back to the retailer just to the specific product. To do that at scale, this is not the easiest thing. And we invest a lot in it. And we see that many marketers are using that. And also we're going to come up with a big study very soon that shows specifically that personalization works. Viewers will spend more time and are actually very excited about an ad if it uses any form of personalization, not a one-size-fits-all.
And a quick reminder to the group that you could go ahead and drop questions into the chat. Our team's reviewing them, and we'll get them in. If we can't get to anyone's question, we'll try to get to it following the chat. But go ahead and drop them into the chat box, and our team will be able to grab it from there. We were talking about fashion CPG. One of the other pieces that someone was asking about was retail, and Tal talked a little bit about product carousels. One of the areas that I thought I would just contribute to that piece is some of the newer technology with the idea of dynamic, the idea to dynamically include something. So in this case, locations. So with, and this could be not just retail, but even auto too, with if Mercedes or another brand is connecting the dots with the closest dealer.
Or
Tal,
just
yeah, Bob, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Financial services companies. Again, we have a couple banking clients who are using connected TV, but again, they have a host of between auto loans and your checking accounts and investment accounts. So again, being able to segment the audience that you're buying and deliver that sort of appropriate message based upon what customer segment they're in. That's another opportunity that we see.
It's kind of funny that we think about, I would think about that part, that we think that, again, personalization or dynamic nature is something that I need to sprinkle on top, and maybe I will use that, which is kind of weird. If you go to any website or any app, there's no such thing as two people will see the same thing. You never browse Amazon and see the same products that someone else will see. You never go to, even right now, every QSR restaurant would feature where's the closest store to where you are. It's the norm. It's not something that I need to think about, and there's no novelty in personalization anymore. So it's and the same thing happens right now within television commercial. People expect that. That's a common practice, and we see that again both with viewers electing to spend more time engaging with something that is personalized, and also brands that have data, have DMP or other tools, have most of their products, regardless the category, telcos, retailer, financial services, obviously automotive, each one could leverage some part of adapting the message to something that is not a one-size-fits-all.
I keep hearing from so many of my partners that personalization at scale is going to be 2021's buzz phrase, and connected TV in its own, and maybe we use too many cliches and acronyms in our industry, but I feel like this all plays into that.
It's not a year, it's a decade.
Yeah. Indeed. Let's take another audience question. We've got another hot button question that people have been asking as CTV got bigger and bigger. So much growth within CTV. Still a lot of the short tail behind a paywall. How do you manage frequency? Ashley, Bob, do one of you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so we work with, and again, when we do connected TV, we don't tend to work with multiple CTV providers that, sometimes those multiple providers have access to the same inventory. We've been working with usually, one, occasionally two partners. Again, if you do work with that one partner, you can set frequency caps with that one partner on the media buys that you establish with them.
Yeah, and I would actually reiterate what Bob had to say. We're actually taking the same approach, just using a few partners at a time. And my media team really does the heavy lifting there. I want to give them a huge shout out. They really have taught me so much so far. But yeah, I would echo what Bob had to say.
But a quick shameless plug is that, but even on the flip side, but this question is a spot on question. Maybe the biggest question that we get from marketers or media planners is the problem of managing frequency. Both frequency within CTV is a problem, but when you add frequency CTV plus linear, Bob mentioned earlier, is that it's not just cord cutters, it's cord stackers, nevers, shavers, however you want to call it. But but at the end of the day, there's multiple screens and you want to know that you're not wasting impression. We invested a lot, and we came up with a product in partnership with Roku for reach and frequency management for linear and CTV. But I feel like this is just the beginning. This is such an important topic. And we all as an industry, and I'm sure both on the buy and on the sell side, everyone is thinking about this problem. It's a super key problem.
I feel like it comes up in every conversation here. So with CTV exploding and all of these changes, I feel like so many things we're experiencing for the first time. I want to shift towards forward-looking challenges, hopes, wishes, and dreams. So I guess let's kick it off with Ashley. Is there anything that you're particularly excited about for CTV and interactive CTV, and any or any wishes for the future as it evolves?
Yeah, definitely. So I think my wish is really digging into that path to purchase with our consumer. I mean, like we've said on this call, CTV is, a lot more measurable than linear. So I think we have a big opportunity here. I'm also excited to see if ad formats evolve over time, just like we've seen in the display space. Do we think that that's going to happen on Connect TV? And then lastly, I'm anxious to see if these consumption levels stick that we saw that spike with COVID-19.
Would love to see that consumption. I feel like we're not going back to a linear world entirely. I don't think it's ever going away, but gee. Bob, how about you? Anything that you're particularly excited about or wishes?
Yeah, I mean, in digital, it's a great time to be alive. And I say to the team here that we need to be learning as fast as the world is changing. And it's changing very quickly, especially in CTV. So some of the things that Tal mentioned, like A/B testing or personalization, attribution. Before I worked at Nobel, I worked in an attribution company. And again, TV was always modeling science, top down, probabilistic. But now, and digital was bottom up based upon sort of, the impression click conversion data. I think attributions can become more and more important for CTV. And as Ashley mentioned, we tell our clients, what gets measured gets optimized, and what gets optimized gets funded. So I think you're going to see dollars continue to shift to CTV because of the measurement ability there. So that's what gets me up in the morning.
Amen for that.
So.
And Tal, your hopes, wishes, dreams, and challenges for 2021.
Peace in the Middle East, I will say, is one thing, but something we can't solve here. Kind of a big area that we are spending a lot of time. In order to do everything that both Bob and Ashley mentioned, you need to have a very good understanding about who's in front of the glass. Not in a person basis, sometimes on a household basis, but still, you need to have some form of an identity, which is right now very much lacking. It's lacking on the internet overall with the cookie disappearing, browser wars, IDFA, and everything that's going on. But in CTV, it's even more problematic from the start. I think, or even generalized, all of us really think that that's the next war, is around understanding the identity. How do you pass it in a privacy safe way? Who collects the data? How there's no data leakage? How is opt-in or opt-out managed? So this whole idea of privacy and identity is maybe a very, very large share, I'll say, of what we spend time thinking and plotting on in the space of connected television.
Thanks, Tal. I completely agree. I think that is one of the missing pieces. And to Bob's point with what you can't measure, that's an area that's still evolving. To the industry's credit, it's a known challenge that nearly everyone is having a challenge with. And if we could just get together and coordinate it, I feel like we're seeing green shoots of that happening. Areas that I'm most excited about is, of course, this interactive CTV. A shameless plug of, it's an area that we've been working with at Undertone with so many of our partners, and seeing the types of success that we haven't been able to show before, the ability to actually interact with an ad on a television and get different levels of engagement. I think that adds to the total measurement suite that Undertone's been building in order to connect the dots between across screens. We've always been good at high impact and be able to put high impact on the biggest screen in the household and tie that together, and then measure everything, give you different actionable engagements that you can see, and tie it offline as well. Quite excited about so much to come. Thank you very much to the panel. I want to thank everyone, Ashley, Bob, Tal. Want to thank everyone viewing at home. Thanks for joining, and also for the engaging questions. If you have any questions that we didn't get to, or any questions on how to take advantage of interactive CTV, email us. It's tellmemore@undertone.com, tellmemore@undertone.com, or speak with your Undertone team member if you're already in touch. And we'll also drop you an email with key takeaways from today's event. Thanks so much, and enjoy your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ashley. Thanks, Tal. Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Thank you.